Good day, everyone. Here's a refreshment discussion about the topic covered in our prelims assessment. First, globalization. It is a process through which people, goods, ideas, and services move across countries, creating stronger connections among nations, and it creates interaction and integration among governments, businesses, and cultures around the world. So, globalization is not new, as early trade routes, such as the Silk Road, already connected distant regions for trade. However, globalization became faster and deeper after the World War II because many countries adopted free market systems and reduced trade barriers. Then technology, especially information and communication technology, is one of the main drivers of globalization as it allows faster communication, easier transfer of money, and better coordination between businesses worldwide. So overall, globalization increases global connectivity and it affects many areas of life as it can bring both opportunities for growth and challenges for society. Next, globalization can be understood through four key characteristics that describe its scope, processes, and impact on societies around the world. First is the creation and multiplication of social networks. One of the primary features of globalization is the creation of new social networks and the strengthening of multiplication of existing connections that cut across traditional, political, economic, cultural, and geographical boundaries. And these networks link individuals, organizations, corporations, and states across vast distances, enabling interactions that were previously impossible. And a clear example is the Olympics, or let's say the Brazilian World Cup, where conventional TV coverage is combined with digital streaming and social media platforms, allowing audiences worldwide to experience and engage with the event. And such interactions transcend national boundaries and illustrate how globalization connects people and communities in ways that extend beyond geography or politics. Next is the expansion and stretching of social relations. So globalization is also reflected and in the expansion and stretching of social relations, activities, and connections, which is a process that we often call as social stretching. And this involves the worldwide reach of economic, cultural, and social activities. Examples include the global operation of financial markets, around the clock electronic commerce, and the emergence of large standardized shopping malls across continents who sell products whose components are manufactured in different countries. So, social stretching encompasses a wide range of actors, from non governmental organizations, commercial enterprises, and social clubs to regional and global institutions such as the United Nations, European Union, ASEAN, and multinational corporations like Google. And by connecting these actors across borders, globalization reshapes social, economic, and cultural interactions on a global scale. Third, intensification and acceleration of social exchanges. So, a third characteristic of globalization is the intensification and acceleration of social exchanges and activities, and that technological advancements in communication and information transfer have dramatically increased the speed and volume of interactions worldwide. For instance, the World Wide Web allows the instant relay of distant information. Satellites provide immediate images of events across the globe, and platforms like Facebook and or Twitter enable sophisticated social networking for billions of people. And this rapid flow of information and interaction means that local happenings are increasingly shaped by global events, and global trends affect local communities. The result is an intermingling of local, national, and global dimensions where social, economic, and cultural activities operate on overlapping scales. Fourth one, finally, globalization operates not only on material and subjective levels, but also on the subjective plane of human consciousness and identity. While it does not erase local and national attachments, it compresses the world into a single shared frame of reference for thought, decision making, and action. As globalization connects the macro structures of global community and the microstructures of individual experience, influencing few or how people perceive themselves and the world. And it facilitates the creation of multiple individual and collective identities nurtured by interactions between the people and the global as social exchanges accelerate and geographic um, reach widens. Individual increasingly develop a global awareness that shapes personal dispositions, social behaviors, and cultural understanding. So, to summarize this, globalization is a dynamic process characterized by the creation and transnational networks, the stretching of social and economic relations, the rapid intensification of exchanges, and the deep integration of global consciousness and integrity. And these interconnected characteristics illustrate how globalization reshapes not only economies and politics, but also the social and cultural dimensions of human life. Next, proceed with the historical periods of globalization. So, globalization has evolved through several historical periods and each shaped by technological, social, and economic developments. First, the prehistoric period. As globalization was very limited during this time, contacts among hunter gatherer communities existed but were geographically constrained due to the lack of advanced transportation and communication technologies. Then, in the pre modern period, the invention of writing and the wheel marked significant technological and social advancement, as writing facilitated the spread of ideas, knowledge, and culture, while the wheel and improved roads allowed more efficient transport of people and goods. And trade networks expanded, connecting civilizations across continents. Third, the early modern period, so this era covering the Renaissance and the European Enlightenment, saw the rise of metropolitan centers, exploration, and the early capitalist world system. And that European countries expanded trade networks globally, spreading goods, ideas, and cultural influences uh, to far-reaching regions. Fourth, the modern period, where industrialization, technological innovations in transportation communication, the population growth, and the increased migration transform societies and strengthen cultural exchanges. And this is where industrial economies created new markets, reshaped social patterns, and accelerated international trade and investment. And lastly, where we are now, as the contemporary period. So this period represents the most intense phase of globalization as technological advancements, information, communication, and transformation, or I mean transportation, have dramatically increased global interdependence. So the trade, investment, and knowledge flow faster and more widely than ever, connecting individuals, corporations, and government worldwide. So globalization today is deeper, faster, and cheaper, and more pervasive, influencing almost every aspect of economic, cultural, political, and social life. Okay? Next, so globalization refers to the process by which countries, economies, cultures, and societies become increasingly interconnected and interdependent, and advances in technology, communication, transportation, and economic systems have allowed ideas, goods, services, and people to move across borders more easily than ever before. And that it is not limited to economic activities alone, as it affects the different dimensions across nations, and these aspects are known as the dimensions of globalization. So the major dimensions include the economic dimension, political dimension, cultural dimension, religious dimension, and ideological dimension. And each dimension helps us understand how globalization influences different parts of human life. First, economic dimension. So the economic dimension of globalization refers to the expansion and intensification of economic relationships across countries. Because of technological innovation, improved transportation systems, and digital communication, trade and investment now occur on a global scale. In earlier periods, economic activity was mostly limited within national borders. However, globalization has allowed companies to operate internationally and distribute products to different parts of the world. And the large multinational corporations play a crucial role in this process. Examples include corporations such as General Motors, Walmart, Mitsubishi Corporation. And these companies operated in many countries, manufacture goods in different locations, and sell products globally. Their operations create employment opportunities and stimulate economic development. And another important component of the economic dimension is the role of international financial institutions, which regulate and stabilize the global economic system. And this include International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, the World Trade Organization, and the World Bank. So these institutions help countries manage economic crises, regulate international trade, and provide financial assistance for development projects. Example, um, a modern smartphone may involve several countries and its production process. So the design may come from one country, the raw materials from another, and then the assembly in a different nation, and a global distribution through international markets. So this demonstrates how economies are interconnected through globalization. However, while globalization can promote economic growth, it can also create economic inequality between developed and developing countries. Okay? Next, political dimension. So the political dimension of globalization refers to the growing interaction and cooperation among governments and political institutions worldwide. As globalization has encouraged countries to collaborate on global issues such as environmental protection, security, human rights, and economic regulation. And one important issue in this dimension is the principle of state sovereignty, which means that each country has the authority to govern itself without external interference. However, globalization sometimes challenges this principle because international agreements and organizations influence national policies. So the intergovernmental organizations have become increasingly influential in global governance, and one of the most prominent examples is the United Nations. So this organization works to promote international peace, security, and cooperation among countries, and other regional and global organizations also influence international politics by coordinating policies and encouraging collaboration among nations. And that globalization has therefore expanded the scope of governance beyond national borders, creating what scholars call as global governance, where multiple actors, including governments, international organizations, and non governmental organizations, participate in decision making. An example, countries cooperate through international treaties to address global problems such as climate change, terrorism, and global health emergencies, as let's say during the time the pandemic era. Next, the cultural dimension. So the cultural dimension of globalization refers to the increasing exchange and interaction of cultural values, traditions, and lifestyle across different societies. In the modern world, cultural products and ideas spread rapidly through global communication networks, social media, international travel, and mass media. And, and cultural globalization promotes the spread of certain dominant cultural values such as individualism, consumerism, and the pursuit of economic success. And these values are often transmitted through the internet, television, films, and digital platforms. And within the cultural dimension of globalization, two dominant cultural characteristics that spread across societies are individualism and consumerism. Although these concepts are related, they separated different aspects of cultural behaviors and values. First, the individualism. It refers to the cultural value that emphasizes personal independence, self reliance, and the importance of individual goals and achievements over collective or group interests. So, in societies influenced by individualism, people are encouraged to express their personal identity, to make independent decisions, to pursue personal success and self fulfillment, and to value personal freedom and individual rights. So, globalization has helped spread individualistic values through global media, technology, and international communication platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. And these platforms allow individuals to present their personal opinions, lifestyles, and identities to global audience. Let's say, for example, a young entrepreneur is starting an online business to pursue personal success reflects individualistic values promoted by globalization. And then another, consumerism. Consumerism refers to a cultural and economic ideology that encourages the continuous acquisition and composition of goods and services as a way of achieving happiness, status, or social identity, and that consumerism is strongly promoted by global markets, advertising industries, and multinational corporations as such as Amazon and Apple. And advertising campaigns often persuade consumers to buy new products by associating them with success, prestige, or happiness. An example, if a person purchasing the latest smartphone or fashion brand mainly because it is trendy or associated with status is demonstrating consumerist behavior. So let's say or let's see the difference between individualism and consumerism. For the aspect, and the main focus of individualism is the personal freedom and self-expression, while consumerism is for buying and consuming of goods and products. Then, in the aspect of goal, individualism has a personal achievement and being independent. And then for consumerism, there is the satisfaction through material possessions. Next, for the aspect of cultural effect, individualism encourages individuality and personal identity, while consumerism encourages spending and material lifestyle. And lastly, for the example, individualism starts a personal career or expressing unique opinions, while consumerism buy luxury brands or allowing consumption trends. So there's always a trend. So, individualism promotes personal identity and independence, while consumerism encourages people to express that identity through the products they buy. Together, these values are widely spread through global media, technology, and advertising. And this is why modern societies often emphasize both personal success and material consumption, which are major characteristics of contemporary global culture. And that the large media, okay, let's move on with the individualistic and consumeristic thinking. So, large media corporations have significant influence in spreading cultural content worldwide. Examples include Google, Microsoft, and the Walt Disney Company, and these are what we call as media empires. So, these media empires that generate, I mean, um, again, they're what we call media empires, and that generate and direct the extensive flow of culture. And these corporations distribute entertainment, information, and cultural products of global audiences. Next is the cultural diversity. One important concept in cultural globalization is hybridization, which refers to the blending of global and local cultural elements. Instead of replacing local cultures, globalization often produces new cultural forms that combine different traditions. Examples of cultural hybridization can be seen in international cuisine, such as modifying an Italian menu in Filipino style, or what will suit to the taste of Filipinos, and that works as well to music genres, fashion trends, film and entertainment, language and communication styles. An example: many societies adapt um, foreign cultural elements while adapting them to their local traditions. Food, music, and fashion often reflect a mixture of local and international influences, and that advertising also contributes, or the advertisement contributes to cultural globalization by promoting consumer lifestyles and using celebrities to influence public preferences. Next dimension, religious dimension. The religious dimension of globalization highlights the role of religion in shaping social values, cultural identities, and global interactions. So, religion can be defined as a system of beliefs, practices, and moral principles centered on devotion to a higher power of ultimate reality. And it is one of the most influential factors that shape civilizations and cultural identities, as religious institutions participate in global discussions such as ethics, justice, peace, and human development. For example, the teachings of the Catholic Church, it provides guidance on how globalization should respect human dignity and promote social justice. So here, the Catholic Church outlines 8 key principles that guide ethical principles on globalization. First is the commitment to universal human rights, as it recognizes the dignity and rights of every human being. Next, the commitment to the social nature of the human person, where it emphasized that humans thrive in communities. Third is the commitment to the common good, as it promotes conditions that benefit all members of society. Fourth, solidarity, as it recognizes that all people share responsibility for one another. And fifth, preferential option for the poor, for prioritizing the needs of marginalized and vulnerable populations. Six, subsidiarity, encouraging decision making at the lowest effective level of authority. Seventh, justice, for ensuring fairness and equality in social systems. And eight, integral humanism, focusing on the development of the whole person, including spiritual, social, and economic aspects. And that The religious organizations often play important roles in humanitarian work, poverty reduction, and peace building. Okay, so let's just try to emphasize the eight principles. For the commitment to universal human rights, this principle emphasizes that every human being possesses inherent dignity and fundamental rights, regardless of nationality, race, religion, or social status. And these rights include the right to life, freedom, education, work, and participation in society. And in a globalized world, the protection of human rights becomes a shared responsibility among nations, where governments, organizations, and institutions must work together to ensure that globalization does not lead to exploitation, discrimination, or injustice. An example for this, international organizations advocate for the protection of workers' rights and prevent child labor in global industries. Next, for the commitment to the and social nature of the human person. So the Catholic Church teaches that human beings are naturally social creatures who flourish through relationships and community life. And individuals cannot achieve their full potential in isolation because society provides support, cooperation, and shared responsibility. So the globalization increases human interaction across cultures and nations, making cooperation even more important. And this principle emphasizes that global development should strengthen communities rather than promote excessive individualism or social isolation. And an example, um, international cooperation in healthcare, education, and humanitarian aid reflects the social nature of humanity. Third, commitment to the common good. So the common good refers to the social conditions that allow individuals and communities to achieve their full development and well-being, and it involves creating systems that benefit everyone rather than only a privileged group. So in globalization, economic growth and technological advancement should not only benefit wealthy nations or corporations. Instead, global development must consider the welfare of all people, especially vulnerable populations. Example, global programs that provide vaccines, education, or disaster relief aim to promote the common good. Next is solidarity. So the principle of solidarity recognizes that all human beings belong to one global family, and it emphasizes the moral responsibility of individuals, communities, and nations to care for one another. So solidarity encourages cooperation between wealthy and poor nations, reminding societies that global challenges such as poverty, climate change, and disease affect everyone. And this principle promotes empathy, mutual support, and collective responsibility. An example, countries providing humanitarian assistance to disaster-stricken areas demonstrate solidarity with affected population. Yeah. Next, preferential option for the poor. So it teaches that society must give special attention to the needs of marginalized and disadvantaged people. So globalization often creates economic inequalities where some individuals or countries benefit greatly while others remain poor. So the church emphasizes that policies and economic systems must prioritize the welfare of the most vulnerable members of society, and poor communities are often the most affected by environmental destruction, economic exploitation, and lack of resources. An example is programs that provide food, healthcare, or education to impoverished communities reflect this principle. And then sixth, the principle of subsidiarity. Okay, it teaches that decisions should made at the lowest possible level of authority that is capable of addressing the issue effectively. And this means that local communities, organizations, and governments should handle problems whenever possible instead of relying solely on centralized authorities. Subsidiarity ensures that people remain actively involved in decision making processes that affect their lives. And in globalization, this principle encourages balancing global cooperation with respect for local autonomy. And an example for this are where local governments managing community development projects while receiving support from national or international organizations. Seventh, justice. So it refers to the fairness in social, economic, and political systems, and it ensures that resources, opportunities, and responsibilities are distributed equitably. And the church emphasizes that globalization should not exploit workers, damage the environment, or create unfair economic advantages for powerful corporations or nations, in that justice promotes ethical economic practices, fair wages, and respect human dignity. So, let's say, for example, the fair trade initiatives aim to ensure that believe, I mean, farmers and workers receive uh, fair compensation for their labor. Next, the integral humanism. It focuses on the holistic development of human person, including physical, intellectual, social, moral, and spiritual well-being. And this principle emphasizes that development should not be measured only by economic growth or technological progress. And that through development also improve people's quality of life, promote education, protect the environment, and respect cultural values. So this principle opposes materialism, which is the belief that happiness and success is come mainly from wealth, possessions, and consumptions. So, in a globalized world, many societies focus too much on earning money, buying products, and achieving economic success. And according to the teachings of the Catholic Church, development should not only be about increasing wealth or production. Instead, it should also promote human dignity, strong communities, education, moral values, and care for the environment. In simple terms, integral humanism teaches that globalization should help people become better human beings, not just richer consumers. So, are you one of those? Okay, an example, a society that invests in education, healthcare, and community well-being, not just economic growth, is practicing integral humanism. So, the religious dimension of globalization highlights the importance of moral and ethical guidance in an increasingly interconnected world. And through its social teachings, the Catholic Church emphasizes that globalization must promote human dignity, justice, and solidarity, and the eight principles of Roman Catholic teaching serve as moral guidelines to ensure that globalization benefits all people rather than only a privileged few. And by applying this principle, societies can work toward a form of globalization that is ethical, inclusive, and centered on the well-being of the entire human family. And lastly, the ideological dimension. It refers to the spread of belief systems, political ideas, and values that influence how societies um, understand globalization, and an ideology is a set of shared ideas and beliefs that guide political or social actions. Ideologies often justify particular economic systems or political structure, and one influential ideology related to globalization is globalism, which promotes the idea that global economic integration and free markets are beneficial for all societies, and that the advocates of globalism often make several major claims. Globalization promotes the liberalization and integration of global markets. Second, globalization is inevitable and irreversible due to technological advancement. Third, no single authority controls globalization as it is driven by complex global interactions. And fourth, globalization benefits all countries economically through trade and investment. And lastly, globalization contributes to the spread of democratic governance worldwide. However, critics argue that globalization may also uh, increase inequality, weakening the national sovereignty and favor powerful countries or corporations. So let's see for the major claims of advocates of globalism. So this ideological dimension of globalization focuses again on the spread of ideas, beliefs, and values that influence how people understand and support globalization. And one important ideology related to it again is globalism, which promotes the idea that global economic integration and free markets lead to progress and development. Again, for the first one, um, in here, supporters believe that reducing trade barriers such as tariffs and restrictions allows goods, services, and investments to move freely between countries, where institutions like the World Trade Organization promote this idea by encouraging open international trade. And for the inevitable and reversible, advocates argue that technological developments such as the internet, global transportation systems have permanently connected the world. Because of this, globalization is seen as a natural and unavoidable process. As we say that no single authority controls globalization. According to supporters, globalization is not controlled by a single country or institution. Instead, it is driven by the combined actions of governments, uh, corporations, financial markets, and individuals across the world. And then the fourth, as it benefits all countries and everyone. Yeah. Globalists believe that increased trade, investment, and economic cooperation create jobs, increasing the productivity and improve living standards in many countries. And lastly, as globalization contributes to the spread of democratic governance, it advocates uh, as its advocate claim that as countries become economically connected, they are more likely to adopt democratic political systems and respect human rights. So overall, these claims reflect that the belief that globalization is a positive and transformative force that promotes economic growth, political cooperation, and global development. However, there are some critics who argue that the benefits of globalization are not always equally distributed among countries and social groups. So that's all for, I guess, dimensions of globalization. Next, let's proceed to Arjun Appadurai. So, Arjun Appadurai's Escapes of Globalization. He's an anthropologist who explains globalization using the concept of escapes. And according to him, globalization does not occur in only one area, such as economics or politics. Instead, it happens through multiple and interconnected flows that move across countries and cultures. These flows influence how people, technology, money, media, and ideas circulate around the world. And according to Appadurai, he identified five important dimensions, which he calls ethnoscape, technoscapes, financescapes, mediascapes, and idioscapes. So ethnoscapes refers to the movement of people across borders. So this includes migrants, refugees, tourists, students, and workers who travel or relocate to other countries, and that globalization has increased mobility, allowing people to move more easily for employment or for education, safety, and leisure. Examples. Um, those refugees who seek safety from conflict in their home countries, such as what we're experiencing right now. We have, if you're aware, I guess you're aware of that. Those countries who seek safety as as they experience conflict or next. See. Okay, let's proceed. Next, another one are workers migrating abroad for better job opportunities, especially let's not go far. Let's say for the OFW who seek jobs just for to have a better job opportunity and to have a better life. Okay? Next, those tourists who travel internationally. Okay, just for leisure or entertainment and such. Yeah. So these movements contribute to cultural diversity and global cultural exchange. Next, the technoscapes. It refers to the global flow of technology and technological innovations that allow faster communication and connection between societies. So the modern technology enables information, communication, and digital interaction to occur almost instantly across the world. An example um, are those smartphones and handheld devices that are used for communication and information sharing. Next, another one, personal computers and digital devices and the internet, which connects people globally and allows instant communication. So these technoscapes play an important role in accelerating globalization by making communication information exchange easier. Okay? Third one, financescape. It refers to the movement of money and financial resources across global markets because globalization, financial uh, because of globalization, financial transactions now occur very quickly and across multiple countries through global financial networks. Let's say, for example, an international stock exchanges where trading happens within seconds, right? Next, another one, global banking systems, and then the credit cards and digital payment systems that allow people to purchase goods internationally. So the financescapes demonstrate how global economies are interconnected through financial flows. Fourth one, mediascape. It is the global distribution of information through media platforms such as television, news network, social media, and online content, and that media plays a powerful role in shaping public opinion and spreading cultural values worldwide. Example of this, those who blog or part of blogging and online journalism where individuals share news and opinions globally. Another one are those international news organizations such as BBC and the social media platforms that allow information to spread rapidly across countries. So these mediascapes influence how people understand global events, cultures, and lifestyle. And lastly, the ageoscape, as it refers to the global spread of ideas, political beliefs, values, and ideologies. And these ideas shape political systems, social movements, and global discussions about rights and governance. An example is the spread of ideas related to democracy, freedom, and human rights. And then the political ideologies such as liberal democracy influencing many countries. So the Ageiscape demonstrate how globalization spreads not only goods and technology but also powerful ideas that influence societies worldwide. Okay? So again, according to Arjun Appadurai, globalization occurs through multiple intersecting flows that shape modern society. And these flows include ethnoscape for the movement of people, technoscape for the flow of technology, financescape for the movement of money, mediascape for the global flow of media and information, and ideoscapes for the spreading of ideas and ideologies. And together, these escapes help explain how globalization connects the different societies and influences social, cultural, economic, and then the political life around the world. Next